Thank you so much. And as Stoney said, it's really an honor to come out and be here at the Smithsonian Institute and working for all of you wonderful folks out here, playing some of the old-timey music like Stoney and the boys and I was raised on. Stoney and I, as he said, comes from the hills of West Virginia. And I was raised on a farm, and Stoney was raised on a farm, although my mother was a school teacher and my father a coal miner. But I've worked on the farm just like a man because there was no boys in our family, and I was the oldest girl. So I've pulled a cross-cut saw with my dad many a time out there on that farm, dug many a row of potatoes, hoed many a row of corn. I got the hands to show
calluses,
too.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
But anyway, we enjoyed those days back on the farm, and I know my family would gather around after the work was done of an evening. Before we'd go to bed, we usually went to bed just at dark. We never lit a lamp. We didn't have electricity. We had the old-timey kerosene lamps. But before we'd go to bed, Mother and Dad and the two sisters of mine, we'd gather around the organ and Mother'd play. We'd sing some of the old-time hymns. That's all my mother and Dad sung, was gospel songs. But we'd always sing most every evening. And then, of course, Sunday afternoon, we'd sit on the porch and we'd sing all afternoon. But I remember those days. It's nice to come and share some of these songs with you folks over here tonight. Here's one more, Stoney.
No, you've got several to go. I want to point out, Wilma is so thrilled about being here and to represent women in country music, and what a high honor that I can tell just a little quiver in her voice, and when she does that, it's high emotion and love, and I just can't believe it happened to her. And we want to thank the BC, May, and of course Mr. Ralph Rensler, and all those who had anything to do with having you here for this special night, Wilma. And I would be shaking in my knees, and the only reason I'm not is because I can sort of toss it over on you this time. But I usually do anyway, so it's really not any different. So these folks just want to hear Wilma Lee, and I'm sure that's the way they come, and you just be that way.
Thank you. Here's a song that I recorded back in 1946 when we were working at a radio station in Asheville, North Carolina. We worked down there about 4 months before we came to Wheeling, West Virginia. And this is a song, there was a record company came to us. We'd never recorded. And back then, it was a great honor to get to record. And this man came and he asked us, Mr. Stanton, Mr. Jim Stanton, he said, we have a record company, or I do, and he said, I'd like to have you folks to record for me if you would, if you're not tied up with another company. And of course, we weren't at the time. And it tickled us to death to get to record. And he took us into the studios where we did our programs every day there at WWNC in Asheville, North Carolina. Bill Carver was working for us at the time, playing the dobro guitar. We went in one night, he come in there, and we recorded 16 songs in a record session. Now, usually today, if you can do 4 in a record session, you're lucky. But that night, we did 16 numbers, and this is one of the numbers that I did, the Tramp on the Street. Only a tramp, all Lazarus sad fate. He who lays down at the rich man's gate. He begged for the crumbs on the rich man to eat. He was only a tramp found dead on the street. He was some mother's darling, he was some mother's son. Once he was fair and once he was young. Some mother brought him her darling to sleep. Then they left him to die like a tramp on the street. falling to sleep. Then they left him to die like a tramp on the street. Thank you so much. Jesus who died